So we have the electric trench across the driveway hammered out, and I think this is about how deep it's going to get because it's really hard work to hammer it out further, and the rocks are really large. So if we try to get them out, they're just gonna peel off the whole driveway further. So at most of the length, it is pretty much at the depth, although it's a little bit hard to say because the driveway is sloping. But we had the electric company out this morning to look at the trench, and they said it's fine, so we can start putting in sand, putting conduit, and then backfilling. There is one spot here that looks a little bit high, but it is right at the bank, so the bank is going to go up anyways. So this spot here, but if you look at it here, there's a bank that goes higher from the driveway, so this will be bank anyway, so it will have a deeper depth. So that should be fine, and if we really want to, we could put a little bit of concrete on top. So now let's clean it up a little bit and then start putting some sand on it. The trench looks so much better when it's cleaned up, and then we're about halfway done with the driveway section, so let's keep going. And here's comparison where it hasn't been cleaned up yet. Well, that took a few hours, but now our trench is clean of any rock debris. So now we can put the sand on the bottom on which the conduit will rest on.
It's really important you don't have any sharp rocks underneath the conduit. So what we need to do is clear out the trench. We're then going to put a layer of sand down to give us a nice smooth bed, compact that down so it's really solid, and then we can put the conduit in after that. It's been hard work today clearing the rocks out of here, but we've made it. So in a minute the excavator is going to dump a couple of buckets of sand in here for us. We'll then be using shovels and a wheelbarrow if we need to spread it all out. And then hopefully we can get laying to conduit. And ideally we want to get this driveway opened back up as soon as possible. For that it means laying the conduit, laying the detectable tape above it, the tracer wire on the fibre conduit, and then backfilling with more sand, compacting as we go. So this is quite a big operation. But it'll be so nice to have this conduit here. This is a big, big milestone.
Okay, so we have put the base of sand in and we have compacted that. So now it is time to start putting conduit in.
Well, today has been a great day here on site. We have made a ton of progress. The trench that I'm standing here this morning was just full of rubble, and today we have made enormous progress in getting this trench ready. So we had to remove all of that rubble by hand from the trench. The trench had already been cleared out by the excavator with the bucket on there, but there's a lot of cracks and crevices at the bottom that the excavator just can't get into. And so that's what we had to do by hand with shovels, get all that rock out, because those rocks you really don't want in here next to the conduit. They can damage it if they start to press against it, and over time they can cause damage to the conduit. So instead you have to use a much smoother material, in our case sand. So once we had removed all of those rocks from the trench, we started filling it with sand. We had some help there from the excavator. He was able to drop several buckets of sand in for us. We also used the tractor for some sections as well. But we also did a lot of shoveling and a lot of just manual moving of sand with the wheelbarrow, because this trench goes right across the driveway, which makes it really hard to get to all areas of with a vehicle. Yes, the excavator could climb over, but if it did, it would probably knock a load of things back into the trench that we'd been busy clearing out. So it was kind of a pain having this trench open, and is the reason we want to get it done as soon as possible. So once we'd got the sand in, we'd got it all flattened off, removed all those rocks, and had a nice level surface. We ran the plate compactor up and down here to compact it down nice and firm to give the conduit a really solid bed to sit on. And then we were able to start installing the conduit. So you can see behind me, that is the electrical pole. That is where our primary service, the main electrical service, is going to be coming in. And it will then transition to underground from that pole. Now, that vertical piece of conduit you can see up there, that is just temporary to help us get aligned. What we start with, the first bit that we own, is actually the steel 90-degree sweep that you can see there. Our electric company requires we use a steel 90-degree sweep, because as they pull the wire through, it has a tendency, they said, to actually break that 90 if it's not strong enough. It will just rupture as it tries to pull round the corner there. So from there, we have a 90-degree steel sweep transitioning down into the conduit you can see in the ground behind me here, which is Schedule 80 3-inch PVC conduit. This is some beefy stuff. This is really strong. And that's because it's running across the driveway. So this conduit is going to run all the way up here and continue up the trench ahead of me over there. We're going to call it a day for today. We've laid, 4 pieces of conduit in the trench here. And we've got about another 4 or 5 to go before we cross the driveway. We're sort of on a diagonal, so it's not straight across. But once we've got the 3-inch laid, we then need to lay a piece of 2-inch for the fibre and a piece of 1-inch for ourselves that we're going to use to run some IP cameras over here. So there's still a ton of work to be done laying conduit tomorrow. Tomorrow is also going to be quite a warm day. Now, working in the hot sun isn't always fun, but tomorrow the heat should actually be helping us, because this conduit needs to make a turn. So we actually need to get it round that corner. And it's about a 45-degree turn, but it's relatively wide and sweeping. So we're hoping that just using the sort of heat of the day, that will be enough to allow us to bend the conduit around there. But we'll find out tomorrow whether our plan works. That's it for today, but hopefully tomorrow we can pick up and make some great progress once again.